We're going to be looking at percent, and percent literally means out of 100. So per is out of, and cent is 100. Okay, so what literally means, percent means out of 100. So we're looking at ratios out of 100. So 75% means 75 out of 100 parts. So 70 parts is my parts, 100 is my whole. And we can write it as a fraction, 75 over 100. And since it is a proportion, a ratio, it is a fraction, we can solve this just like we do with fractions. We can use our proportional equation. We have our left to right multiplier here. So we can times by 1.5. So if we can do that for the bottom, we can times by 1.5 on the top. So if I take 30%, multiply it by 1.5, I get 45. So 30 out of 100 is equivalent, it's equivalent fraction or equivalent proportion to 45 out of 150. And we can solve all these percent problems by setting this up as a proportional equation. So there are other strategies to do it, but anytime we come up with something that's new, we should always go back to something we already know, and we know the proportional equation. There is a left to right multiplier. There is an up and down multiplier that we can use to solve a proportional equation. So we're going to make sure that we can set up a proportional equation for these percentage problems. It says 75%, what is 75% of 36? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my percentage, okay, 75 out of 100. So 75% of 36, we just have to establish, is 36 the part or the whole? If we take a look at this, we're going to say that 36 is the whole, so out of 36. So 36 represents the whole, and then we're looking for the part. So we can look at this as we can find a multiplier. Now there is a left and right multiplier here, and if I divide 36 by 100, I get 0.36. I'm going to suggest that we use the up and down multiplier. So when I divide 75 by 100, we end up with our decimal percentage. Okay, this is also called a unit rate. This decimal percentage, this up and down multiplier, is a decimal percentage. It's also a unit rate, and we can use that decimal percentage as our multiplier in the problem. So as I multiply 36 by 75%, I'm going to end up with 27. So 27 out of 36 is same as 75 out of 100, or 27 out of 36 is same as 75 out of 100. So 27 out of 36 represents 75%. Setting up this one here, this is a percentage, so 75 out of 100. And we have to establish 36 is 75% of what number? So does the 36 represent the part or the whole? So 36 is 75%, so that 36 must go with the 75. Now the unknown is the whole. So I will use my multiplier again. There's my decimal multiplier, my decimal percentage. And instead of going from bottom to top, now I'm going in the other direction. So remember that the direction of our ratio is very important. So instead of timesing by 0.75 going down, since the multiplier is going up, I'm going to do the opposite, or divide by 75%. So 36 divided by 75%, the x ends up being 48. So if I got a score of 36 out of 48 on a test, that would represent 75%. Here we have what percent is 36 out of 27. So what's unknown is our percentage. So out of 100. And we want 36, what percent is 36 of 27? So does 36 represent the part or the whole? Well, all of 27 means that 27 is the whole, and 36 then represents my part. So if I divide these two, I can find my decimal multiplier, and that essentially becomes my decimal percentage. Okay, so if I divide 36 by 27, I get 1.3 repeating, so I'm just going to round that to 1.33, and that's my same multiplier I use on this side, and that represents approximately 133%. So 36 represents about 133% of the whole of 27. Now there are other strategies to do this, but those strategies all involve times and divide. And when we get confused by that, or if we have a difficult time with making sure we've got that straight, we can always put it into this proportion. And this directionality of our multiplier is going to establish whether we times or divide by the decimal percentage. Okay, so this one here, our multiplier is bottom to top. Bottom to top gives us a multiply by 0.75. Here we want to go from top to bottom, so we're going to go in the opposite direction, so we end up dividing by that decimal percentage. Now feel free to use that if you are very clear how to use that. However, we always still need to be able to set up these proportional equations and understand how to get a multiplier and the directionality of that multiplication.